Thanks for tuning in to Before the Kickoff podcast. We have a special guest on the podcast today. He's a tight end out of the University of Georgia, and he's projected to be one of the first tight ends drafted in April's NFL draft. Orson Charles, thanks for taking your time to be on our podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So now that you've gone through your combine and pro day workouts, which part of those workouts would you want to take back and redo?
To tell you, the truth, I wouldn't want to take anything back. I definitely enjoyed the whole process. I definitely enjoyed the whole combine. You know, going back and, looking at it and thinking about it, it was just a dream come true. Growing up as a little kid, you always said, oh, I want to go to the NFL combine. I want to meet such and such coach. And, going to the combine, meeting all the coaches you see on TV, and then, competing with guys that you always watch on Saturdays after your game, it was just definitely a whole dream come true. And I thank God, putting me in a great situation.
So when you're watching the NFL tight ends, if you had to choose just one player at the position in which you play the most similar to, who would it be?
If I had to choose one person, it'll kind of be hard. Because, on Sundays, that's pretty much my off day. I just watch film, and then I go home, do my homework, and I watch, NFL teams. And a lot of NFL, a lot of tight ends, look at it's got to be like Ben Watson, Justin Keller, Vernon Davis, Antonio Gates, Randy Michael. There's a lot of tight ends that I just watch and just study and just try to, add their tricks in my tricks of boxing and try to add it to my game.
That's a great thing to do. Many people have you as a top 3 tight end in this draft. What separates you from Kobe Fleener and Dwayne Allen as the number 1 tight end?
Well, it's true. We all are similar, and then definitely made us different. I feel like they're very talented because if they wasn't talented, they wouldn't be in the situation that they are. But to separate us, I feel like at Georgia you have to block. Like any tight end that came out of Georgia, that was the number 1 goal. And then when I first stepped foot on Georgia campus, Coach Lilly said. And Coach Bobo said, you're not going to play at the UGA unless you learn how to block. So I definitely took that to heart, and I definitely focused on blocking. And then, stretching the field, being versatile, splitting out at wideout, so I could be a complete tight end.
The tight end position has reemerged in the NFL in the last few seasons. Many credit tight ends like Rob Gronkowski, Jimmy Graham, and even Aaron Hernandez for the resurgence at the position. Do you see yourself on the same level as these tight ends in the NFL?
Yes, sir. I definitely see them, and I definitely would like to thank them because they did history in the playoffs, and I was definitely watching that, and they put up a stamp on getting the tight end and allowing them to do what they're capable of doing as far as creating mismatches against a linebacker and safety. But I definitely feel like I can contribute to a Baltimore to do the same things or if not better that they're doing now.
Which NFL teams have you been in contact with?
At the combine, I met with like 11 teams the first night, 12 the second, and then when we first got there, teams was pulling me left and right just to get to know me. But from there, it varies from probably around 5 or 10. But then, it's just a waiting game. You wait, you pray, and then April 26th, you pray that your name get called.
Would you rather be drafted by a team who is in their rebuilding stages but would have you as their starter, or would you rather be drafted by a team who's on the verge of a Super Bowl run but would put you in as their second-string tight end to learn behind their current starter?
To tell you the truth, I would just want to be drafted because right now I'm unemployed. I can't help my mom with bills. I can't pay my cell phone bill or my insurance. So right now I just need a job.
And the last question for you, just a bit of a fun one. From purely your perspective as a fan of football, who's your favorite NFL team?
Who's my favorite?
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to pinpoint down to my favorite. I know I grew up like one of the first, NFL games I grew up watching with the Bucs. Definitely watched the Super Bowl run with, Michael Clay, Warren Sapp, Ronnie Barber, and all those great players. But it's kind of hard to just pinpoint one favorite team.
Okay. Well, Orson, man, that's all we really have for you. We appreciate you taking your time out to be on the podcast.
Thank you for having me again.
No problem.